Hello, my name is Bill Amundson. I'm an artist that mostly draws pictures with pencils, and I'm here to talk about this particular piece called Bill Amundson's New Babel. Let me ask you a question. I suspect you all remember Sunday school and the story of Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. Now, I remember it, but I'm a little fuzzy on the details. But basically, it seemed that Nimrod and his people, who all lived in harmony on the earth because they loved and respected God, got a little too big for their britches, decided to build a tower basically honoring them and their achievements and the achievements of Mr. Nimrod, who should have seen it coming since his name is Nimrod after all. And God smote the living daylights out of Nimrod and his people, scattered them to every corner of the planet, gave them all different languages so they couldn't get along and had difficulty communicating, and that was basically the way mankind worked from that day on. Thanks a lot, God. Anyhow, in looking at recent history, people like Tom Friedman talking about globalization, the way boundaries are completely different, the world is flat, the way cultures bleed one into the other, the way call centers, to get something done, you're talking to somebody in the Philippines who's dealing with somebody in India and that kind of thing. It just seemed that somehow it was time to do another version of the Tower of Babel tale. Some of it had to do with unity, more of it probably had to do with how crazy the world is mixed up these days from a global standpoint. So I use that as a starting point. And also, Peter Bruegel the Elder, one of my heroes, even though I don't know a lot about his personal life and I've never heard about him on TMZ, his particular painting of the Tower of Babel is one of my favorites. And I use this as the touchstone, as well as a few others. Some things I got from the internet, and Mr. Escher, his version of the Tower of Babel that had a lot of cool stairs that I suspect I incorporated into this. So anyhow, it's a pencil drawing done with 5H and 4H and a little bit of 2H pencils. And I constructed the drawing pretty much the way the tower was constructed. I started from the bottom with a base and just sort of built skyward. I did have some lines that I drew in because there is some perspective involved, 2-point perspective, but a little bit loose. The vanishing point will be right about here in the middle. So as you go up here, lines are like this, and now at the bottom you'll see the lines converging a little bit more like that. I started with the bottom portion where there's a parking structure, a lot of loading docks and roadways, kind of a subterfuge, also very low-level retail outlets like Savers and Family Dollars. And as we worked our way higher and higher, it got a little bit more commercial, a little bit more glitzy, and then towards the top it gets a little bit more residential. So those were some of my rules. I made pages of lists of things I thought would fit in nice in the Tower of Babel thing, and then basically I kind of winged it from there. You don't say wung it because that doesn't sound correct. So let me point out some of the highlights. Way down here, there's a lot of little vehicles hauling in various kinds of chain restaurants, including Applebee's and a Red Lobster. A lot of the glass in the structure I used from sort of 70s Galleria construction and Holiday Inns and bigger hotels that seemed like they would never go out of style, but now the glass and the huge atriums look a little bit hokey. I thought that was a nice kind of thing to add. So we have atriums here and here. I used a lot of language, a lot of signage, because I like drawing signage. So Babel I started with and added nouveau, new Babel. This is, I think, a Coca-Cola logo in Chinese. Over here is the term Babel in Arabic. Just mixing all those kind of things up. Up here there's a Sam's Club, but the club is, of course, in Russian. So all the languages, well, maybe not all, but a lot of the languages of the world I tried to fit in. And, of course, a lot of language that means nothing, like worldmax.net or global.com. Down here, speaking of comms, I have some stuff that I got from the Fox Business Network, the stuff that runs on the bottom of the TV, products like Biogen Venti that you should probably buy now because it's going to go up, even in this economy. A lot of other logos you'll see dangling from strings and absurd things like that. Over here, this is a portion of the building that also is my remote control for DirecTV, which I love, and more than most people love their children. As we get up higher, I have some art references, blue bears. In Denver, if you're going to be an artist and you want your art to be loved, put a blue bear in your art. What's better than one blue bear? 4. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. There might be a 5th bear hidden in here, like highlights for children. And then I got the bears in and I decided to put in a little bit more art. So I've got the Borowskis up here. I have the horse from DIA. And of course the horse has kind of steer demon kind of devil horns because a lot of people think the horse is the devil incarnate. There's a little cone that'll cover his head so the horse will be user friendly, but the cone also resembles a little bit of a Ku Klux Klan head. So, we're dealing with different meanings on different levels. I finally decided I should even stick the Denver Art Museum in here because architecturally it just seemed to fit into the whole melange that I've got going. As you get up got higher, I started adding more and more construction and a little bit more, covenant controlled development sort of things that have always been an interest in my art, like Hunter's Landing at Crestview Heights Hollow. I've got Costco's. You also see I have two references to IKEA because I thought by the time this drawing was finished, the IKEA in Denver would be open. And as you well know, Colorado is one of the few states that doesn't have an IKEA, and that's why we're second-rate citizens. But that will change soon enough. There's a Home Depot hanging by a thread. A lot of absurd, kind of childish things I like to use. Here's a portion of a McDonald's Playland right next to a Murakami, which has kind of an international art feel to it, better than, say, Warhol. Variations on happy faces, a little bit variations on public art and pots full of foliage and stuff. I tried to mix all the stuff together. Down here there's a large McDonald's logo, which you just can't escape. I'm not sure. I think there's a Starbucks in here somewhere. One of the beauties of art is that after you finish it, and you're my age, you tend to forget what you've done. So each time you look at it, you see something new and try to remember why you did that. So feel free to do the same thing yourself. Okay, I think that's good enough for our little starting thing. Hopefully you'll get a chance to look at this piece in person, and it will entertain and enthrall you. Thanks for your time.